everybody. It's Sunday. Today's date is September the 1st, 2024. I'm Jeff Morton, your host of Let's Talk About It. For those of you who are following me in the recorded sections or sessions of this program, this broadcast, I want to let you know that I do have everything set up on an audio podcast too on Podbean. And you can look for me there at it's called the Let's Talk About You podcast, which is what this is all about. So what I do is I take the live version and I do an audio file, and then I load those up on the Podbean site, something we just developed. We also, Dr. Dina Dye and I, we decided to go ahead and keep the Returning to Eden podcast going for another whole year. So all of those are still available, and we do appreciate your active listening to them, because I know people are listening to them. I go back and check. Again, this entire podcast is about talking to people who are doing, amazing things for others, as well as if they have a story to tell. We want to do it. Just the average person, the neighbor next door, the guy around the corner. I'm not looking for celebrities. I'm not looking for pundits. I'm not looking for people who are well known. I'm looking for people who are just doing life. And so that's what Let's Talk About It is all about. And today we're going to do a recap. Dawn Nelson is going to be joining me here in just a few seconds. She is actually bringing up the rear on the podcast that we did last week with Elizabeth Smatlack. I'm eager to introduce frequency scanning to the person who doesn't know much about it. Quantum physics, the quantum reality that we're now is available to us as a result of the digital age. It's mind-blowing. Then Dawn's got a whole lot to talk about on the subject, and that's why I wanted to bring her on. I looked for people who are doing this in their practice, in their daily routine. And Dawn was one of the people that I selected. I had 4 people that I was looking at. I selected Dawn. I don't know, maybe because we're both from New York. I don't know what my bias was there. However, she does use the Solex LLC frequency scanning in her business and in her holistic practice. So without further ado, let's bring in Dawn Nelson, who now lives in North Carolina, and she's gonna talk a little bit about herself. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks so much.
All right. So now, just to kind of give the audience a little purview into who you are, why don't you give us about 5 minutes of your backstory?
I will try my best to keep it at 5 minutes because I'm not 21. So I would say about 15 years ago, and living in New York, as you said, I sought out a naturopath because it was in a magazine. And I said, well, this seems like a different way to go about things. And at that time, I went to one, I went to another. I bounced around because I wasn't getting the answers I wanted to hear. We're used to going to a doctor traditionally, and I have this bothering me, and they say, oh, take this for 7 days, you're going to feel better. So this is what I thought I was going into, a quick fix with these naturopaths and whatnot, functional docs. Well, that's not the case. So fast forward, I found one in North Carolina when we moved, stuck with her, went to a functional doc, stayed with her for 3 years. And then after COVID, she closed her practice in September, as things were kind of winding down. And she got me through COVID. And I was like, well, shoot, what am I going to do? She had me on all these supplements, who was going to renew, didn't know what to do. About 6 months later, if that, I see a post on Facebook from a woman I know, and it said, if you could figure out which supplements your body needed at that given time, and or you want your food sensitivities without a blood test, would you do it? And she was running a test kind of thing, was half price of what the actual monthly amount is for the scanner subscription. And I was like, well, shoot, for the $149 after all I've been spending on supplements and doctor visits, because that's all out of pocket, I'll go for it. And I did, and I haven't turned back since. So you're talking about someone who went from probably hundreds of supplements, literally had a desk full when I went to the functional doc. I take 6 at a time now. 6. So I'm not taxing my liver anymore. And I'm taking what my body needs. And not just taking it to pee them right into the toilet and flush my money away. So Solex does a great job. He's laughing at me. It's not funny, Jeff. I spent so much money. But Solex does a great job at training. So they have Solex University. They have 3 phases. Phase 1 comes with your subscription, which I did. And then I got connected on the team I'm on with Dr. Becky and selected her as my mentor. And I would say to her, well, what next? She goes, do all the phases. So I did phase 2, I did phase 3, which opens a database. Well, that database links to emotions, digs deep down where things are going on. Because for the most part, and this is where the name of my business comes into play, Inside Out Holistic Health, you have to heal from the inside. You know, you might have knee pain, but it might not really be because you tore your meniscus or your ACL. It could be some emotion that you buried a long, long time ago, as even as a child, that is stuck and needs to come out. So I did the Solex trainings, and then I said to her, all right, what's next? Like, where do I go from here? And what I love so much about it is every single one of our bodies is like a science project. So,
all right,
you're fine. Have a sip of water or your tea. So she was mentoring me, and I said, well, now what? And so she started a university, and I took her courses through Kimberly Quantum University. I got certified as a bioresonance coach, as a certified holistic health practitioner, and then I'm accredited with the American Association of Drugless Practitioners.
I love that. I looked that up, and I'd never heard of that before until you mentioned that to me and corrected me, actually. And I didn't know there was such a thing. But I got a question before you go on.
Sure, please.
Why were you, looking for holistic alternatives? What was going on with you?
Let's rewind. So my biggest concern, and I'll back up even. So for the last 30 years, I've been a fitness instructor and personal trainer, right? Certified in those, worked in gyms, but I also worked in hospitals, for insurance companies. This was all in my New York life, and actually some of down here in North Carolina. But my passion was always helping people, and hence the gym. And I still have my little foot in the, in there teaching here and there and whatnot. But it shifted like this year because I'm like, you know what? I can still help those people, but it's not just about, you can't just go to a gym and work out and build some muscle and leave the gym. It's a lifestyle change. And it's the same thing with our body. So if someone's looking to put muscle on, they can't just go to the gym and lift weights. There's more to it. Okay. If someone's looking to lose weight, and that was me, I felt like I was stuck. I could never lose this weight. I was plateaued. And that's what got me going to the naturopath. And they're actually in Connecticut, New York doesn't allow them. And I would drive an hour to see this guy. And I would have all of these tests. And when I tell you thousands of dollars of tests, forget the supplements, I'd have all these tests done. And again, really not showing anything. It was always a guessing game. Like, let's throw the dart at the dartboard and see what we think it is. And we'll try this and we'll try that. And just, it was more money and more money being spent. And so again, when Solex, this was presented to me with the AO scan, I was like, well, shoot, if it tells me what supplements I need, what else can it do? So I just want to give this disclaimer about the AO scan. And AO stands for Alpha Omega. AO scan is not a medical device. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So from there, I started learning more and more about the scanner and scanning myself on a daily basis. I went from just mornings to middle of the day, and then morning, middle of the day, and the evening. It's not necessary to do that many. I just was at a point where I was taking so many supplements that I was like, well, it's almost like the scanner had to build a trust, or I had to build a trust with the scanner. So I went from like 50 supplements a day to 6. And I thought, well, shoot, what's going to go on my body? Like, are things going to shift and be weird? And the reason why I stuck with a naturopath and then to a functional doc, even when I moved to North Carolina, like, so in those 6 years or 8 years from New York to North Carolina, is because, again, it was the whole weight thing. And some other things kind of came about, but it was like, oh, it could be your hormones. Oh, it could be this. Oh, it could be Lyme. Oh, it looks like you still have mono and all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, so I would take all these supplements. Well, guess what? The scanner still shows to this day, you're going to see different viruses that show up in the body. And guess what ties it all together? It's your emotions. And that's what the scanner shows and educates us on. So there's different parts of the scanner. There's an inner voice. And that's where I tell anyone brand spanking new, they just get it. They don't have my education or background. And that's okay. That's what the beauty of this device. And I say device, you can use it on your computer. You can use it on your cell phone. You can use it on a tablet. It's portable. You take it anywhere. The other cool thing is you can do it remotely. So right now, if I wanted to, I could scan Jeff from my computer right here in North Carolina, and he is where he is. I can scan people around the world because quantum physics is all intention. So that being said, some of my clients, and actually most of them, are not in North Carolina at all. I've had Michigan, I've had California, Georgia, South Carolina, New York, Connecticut. So pretty much all over the United States. I have team members in Australia and the UK. So we are global. And it's great because everyone really, in my opinion, should have one of these, at least one subscription in the home. We have two. My husband has his own because with my business, I can't keep running my scans, everybody else's scans, and then worry about his as well. But I can look at his reports and I can interpret them. So with that being said, what I do is get to the root cause for people. So for instance, again, you go to the doctor like I did. I have this weight gain, can't get rid of it. You know, I'm a trainer. I know how to work out. I'm eating all the right things, or so I thought. I don't know what to do. And so in comes the scanner. And I've had clients the same thing. Like, oh, I just have this stubborn weight gain and I don't know how to get rid of it. And I'm working out and I'm doing all the things. Cool. So the first one I want to just talk to you about.
Let me jump in here. I want to ask you a quick question.
You can ask me a long question.
Was this all about weight loss for you because you were a trainer?
For me, it was because
all of a sudden you're taking all these supplements because somebody told you to take all these supplements. Was that because of weight gain or trying to lose weight, or was there other things going on?
Trying to lose weight. And again, with all those tests that they did, you know, they might have done a blood test, or they do a special urine test, or they do a Dutch test for hormones, which is hundreds of dollars. Mold testing, like testing the house for mold. I've been in it was a brand new house, and it still could be. So you're kind of like, well, maybe we should do the mold test because what if it is? But like, were we going to move? Like, it was just absurd. The things I look back and go, oh my gosh, the money I could have had in my pocket. But to me, that all had to take place for me to get to where I am today. Because if none of that took place, it wouldn't happen. And then PS, like with everything that happened with COVID, I got COVID, and this will be very interesting when I get to the end of it. So just stick with me for a second. So COVID, what started 2020, 2020, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. You fast forward to that August, that was May. August, she had a Whipple, which is where they take your pancreas out, your liver out, and they try and get the cancer out. This was after chemo and all that stuff. So this is the height of COVID. Everything shut down. I couldn't go see her. I have a huge family in New York. So they were there. They were outside the hospital. And the doctor would come out. The surgeon came out during surgery. I'm on the phone trying to listen because I have some sort of a medical background, working in a hospital, working with insurance companies. So I get the lingo. And the doctor had this heavy French accent. It was super hard to hear. So needless to say, she gets through all that. But remember, that's August. The following May, maybe it was March, she was diagnosed that year. The following May, she passes. We go to New York, blah, blah, blah. So 2021 of May, 2021 August, I get COVID. I wasn't working anywhere. My husband was. I say brought it home. But, you don't get disease from catching it from someone. And people are going to be like, well, what are you talking about? It really comes from emotion. Now, at that time, I had no idea about any of this because the scanner wasn't in my life yet. So that was August. And I was down for, it's showing up in my Facebook feeds now. I was doing lives because I wound up with pneumonia from having it because it blew up my knee from inflammation. And this is where I really started to learn more stuff about the body because I couldn't understand if I was better, like physically felt better, why this weight was back on. And I'd already lost it. And this was seeing the functional doc. She said, well, your cells inside are inflamed. And I didn't get it. So she put me on holistic nutraceuticals. Fantastic. But it was like every day. And I'm like, how many bottles of this stuff am I going to need? It worked. So holistically, it worked. I didn't have to go on any drugs or anything like that. And came back strong, working in a gym. And I was not the heaviest I'd ever been, but it was puffy. It was like being puffy. And I wanted to like stick a pin in me and just let the air out or the fluid or whatever it was. It was a horrible feeling. So it was horrible. So I keep taking the supplements that she recommended in addition to some of these other ones. And lo and behold, every 3 months now, I had to go get a blood test to look for this particular marker. And it was couple $100 blood test. It had to be drawn a certain way, the whole 9 yards. But my numbers started tracking down and the weight started to come off. Hooray. So like I said, she closes her practice that September. A couple of years goes by. It wasn't until this August, just last month, doing my scans. Every August since 2021, so 22, 23, 24, 22, I wound up with the lymph node in my neck swollen. I was super sick. Could have been COVID. I didn't test. Either way, I had that. Every August, I've been some kind of sick. This August was more like a detox that happened to me. My face broke out. I wasn't really sick, but I was congested, but not of my worst. Like if I had sinusitis, let's say. Didn't take any prescription meds or any over the counter, did everything. And I ran my scanner and I used my PEMFMAT and I used I have it right here, my red light band that Solex has. So there were so many different things, so many different modalities that I did. And in 6 days, and saw the chiropractor who helped drain my glands. I mean, these were painful. And in 6 days, I was better. It's the fastest I've ever came out of detox. So the key when you're detoxing, you can't just, when people say, oh, I need to do a liver cleanse or I need to do a parasitic cleanse, you can't just detox or things will get stuck in your body and you're going to be down for the count for a very long time. So to go back to the August, because I went off a little bit there, going to come back now. Remember, August was the Whipple that my mother had. So subconsciously, that was buried somewhere, because why every August then do I come down with some kind of something? And there it was. And I wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together had I not seen that pop up on my Facebook memory that she had the surgery then. And then there I was, like, congested. I said, son of a gun, would you look at that?
So it was really consistent. Every August you were dealing with something buried in your emotions that was manifesting in the sickness. Yes. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So there are, actually my first case study when we share it is about someone who lost their dad. And this was an older client of mine, lost her dad 4 or 5 years ago, and went to every doctor, same thing. And her thing was, I can't breathe. I can't even take a walk with my dogs. I have difficulty breathing. But when you look at meridians on the scanner, it gives you the physical and the emotional tie to what it could be, right? Again, right. Educating us, trying to figure out, well, is it this? Is it that? Well, lung is grief, and lung kept showing up for her. So it's when I'm coaching someone, it's kind of like a question like, well, where could this grief be coming from? And sometimes they name a couple things. Sometimes they can't think of anything, and that's okay. And we just keep digging. It's like peeling the layers of an onion back until we get to the root. So probably a month and a half went by, and then all of a sudden her heart chakra showed up. And that links to anger. And I said, who or what are you angry at? And then it came out. So she had buried this emotion deep down for 4 to 5 years. And she knew exactly what it was when I said that. And she was able to tell me. And she took care of it and felt better. So we don't realize sometimes, like I never put 2 and 2 together. Had that memory not popped up, I would have been like, well, why do I keep feeling like crud in August? Like it didn't make sense because it's not when she was diagnosed. It wasn't when she passed. So that's what was tied. And I will tell you this, on my scans, when I first started scanning, Jeff, what do you think maybe kept showing up for me as an organ, a body organ? Any thoughts?
Let's see. You were dealing with weight, right?
Well, not forget me. Just go back to what I was saying about my mom.
Oh, the pancreas.
Yep. So my pancreas showed. And it, of course, freaked me out for the first couple months. And I would say to Dr. Becky, I was like, what in the world? And it's because I had that emotional connection still, because you connect. You have tied with your parents, your mother, your grandma.
This is probably the most bizarre thing about the scanning, the frequency scanning. Because whatever's going on inside of you eternally, it's going to pick it up, whether it's in your emotions, whether it's in your bone structure, it's going to pick it up.
Picks up everything.
And then you got to get to the root of why it's there. Yep, and I've been reading about this, and they're saying that about 80% of it's tied to some emotion
100%.
in your life.
100%.
Okay, now I know you're going to talk about this, so I don't want to jump ahead.
No, that's okay. Do you
want to? Anyway,
go ahead.
With the pancreas stuff.
Yeah.
What did you do with that? I mean, what did you do?
All I did was scan and optimize. So that's the cool thing about the scanner. It doesn't just tell you what's going on at that split second when you scan. It also optimizes. So it tries to get your body back into homeostasis, into balance. And that's where you want it to be, because that's what wards off disease. So all that being said, knock wood, I haven't seen pancreas show up in my scans in like, I don't know, 8, 12 months now. I don't even, like, I have to think about it and go, I don't see that anymore, you know? The
But
more
when it showed up, was it a high 9 or high red?
it just kept showing, like it just was there. Could have been 9s, could have been 1s, could have been 7s. It wasn't like, because it won't show in the organ section if it's 5s. It's only when it's something unbalanced there. And it just kept showing and it kept showing. And of course, right away you start thinking, but this is where people, they run to Google and they see stuff and then they put that thought in their head and then it becomes them. I mean, there's so many people who, oh, well, I have this and I have that. Like they label themselves and you're not your disease. You're a person who can get better if you want. And that's the biggest thing, Jeff. I say it all the time. Everyone, oh, I feel like crap. This is going on. That's going on. Okay. Do you desire to be well? Because if you do, we can get you there.
Well, the thing that, the American public in particular is pharmaceutically trained. I mean, they're indoctrinated.
Yep.
If you're dealing with an emotional issue, okay, and you go to a doctor and that emotional issue is manifesting itself as some form of sickness or something that's going on in your body, they're giving you a pill for the sickness and you're not getting to the root of it. That I call it, like John just said, if you want to get better, let's deal with the issue that's causing it. We don't want to do what modern medicine does, and that is manage the sickness or manage the manifestation. You got to get to the root of it. You got to cut the root out. Okay, good. Go ahead.
You want to get to the root before it manifests into some disease. And then when it does, it's not the end all be all. Now, some obviously are harder than others. And that's the other thing that I say when I meet a client for one-on-one, I say right off the bat, there is no quick fix. There's no Band-Aid effect for this. It's not, I have no magic pill. I have no magic wand. I have no magic anything, because it's all going to start with you. You have to want to get well and you need to do the work. I can't do the work for you. I can coach you. It would be the same thing, Jeff, if you said, Dawn, I want to be a bodybuilder and what do I have to do? And I say, okay, here's your workout plan. You can't expect me to go to the gym and do it and you're going to get the body that you want, right? It's the same thing with wellness. I can't do it for the person. I can't make the changes in their foundations. I can't make them drink the water they need to drink. I can't make them eat the correct foods for their body. So people have to do for themselves with the coaching, we hold your hand. I'll tell you everything you need to do, but I can't be there with you.
So, and the SOLAX scanning is kind of a roadmap.
Yes.
And let me ask you a question about that. The more you scan your body,
yes,
let's say either inner voice or comprehensive or whatever, you're still optimizing each time something in your system.
Yes.
Do I have that right?
Yeah. Yep. You do.
So if every person paid $149 a month to optimize their frequencies within their body, why would a person do that?
To keep their body in homeostasis so that they don't get sick. It's not 100%. It's not 100% that you won't. Like, for instance, I do it all the time. So like this last round in August, when I came down with whatever, and again, I say it was a detox more so than a cold or anything, because the way my face broke out, it wasn't even like acne. It was like, I can't even explain it. And in those 6 days, it went away. But something drained into my lymph and it flared, and we got it out quick. But again, the scanner recommended chiropractic care. And again, it's a suggestion. It's not like you need to go do this because it's going to make you feel better, but try it. It also will tell you, hey, try yoga. Hey, hydrate more. Take trace minerals. It tells you all these things. So the more you scan and optimize, the more the scanner gets to know you. And then you watch your scans go from I kept a notebook in the beginning, and I would look for trends to see what was happening. And then before you know it, the scan goes down like this. The other thing, we're all made of energy. So when I'm scanning somebody else, I have to clear and shield myself. I clear and shield them so that we don't pick up each other's energy, because then it's going to skew my scan.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. And they give us that option to do that. They also give us the option to do an EMF shield on us. So all the electronics and all the Wi-Fi and all the things that we have around us constantly, we can shield ourselves from that just by a click of the button in the AO scan, which is a nice feature to have.
So would you say that every person, rather than have a bottle of aspirin in their cupboard, they should have the AO scan and understand how to use it?
In my opinion, what I do, that's what I did. I can't recommend anything what they should or shouldn't do. I can just give a suggestion. And, this is what I've lived with almost for 2 years. And I can't tell you the last time I have taken any over the counter or
Prescription
prescription's
pharmaceuticals.
it's been years for me. I haven't taken a prescription probably since I had that bout of COVID when they put me on steroids. It was just a hot mess. But
So,
go ahead.
so what triggered the sinus detox?
Emotion, a buried emotion that I didn't realize that I even had. And that's the thing. People don't realize. So if you go traditionally to a doctor, so if you go just to a regular intern, they're not going to dig deep. They're going to treat what the symptom is. They're not going to figure out the cause of the cause of the cause. Right. So, and that's what I do. So again, this particular woman was, oh, my dad passed, da, da, da. Well, it took to almost our last session for her to say the reason why the anger was there. And it was because the stepmother never included her sister, whatever family, because it was later in life, I guess he remarried, on the gravestone. So she held a grudge for all that time instead of just confronting it. And again, this isn't like it was a teenager. This was an adult. So it was easier for her to just hold the grudge and walk away and then have that weight, that heaviness, and not being able to breathe for 4 or 5 years.
This is good. I'm thinking of people in my life right now that are struggling, myself included. Myself included. So let me say this. When I did my inner scan, inner voice scan, it was hard for me to read the negative, in every section, reading the negative emotions was difficult for me because it was nailing me. And the root cause, when I went down and I started looking at the chakras and the meridian scale, and what I'm going, okay. You can't run away from it.
No, and that's why I say when everyone says, I say the scanner does not lie. It does not lie. I haven't come across one client, one person that looks at their inner voice and goes, yeah, no, absolutely not. It's all like, yeah. And inner voice. So the way Solex teaches us is, you do 10 seconds. I am Dawn. I love the sun. I love the beach. I don't like the rain. I don't like the snow. I love my dogs. And you just talk for the 10 seconds after that. And
You're talking about the affirmations.
No, I'm talking about just inner voice. Just inner voice. You do that 10 seconds. But here's the neat thing. You don't even really need the voice. I've done it enough where you don't need to speak at all. I run them remotely all the time for my clients. If they don't have, and it works. The Mind Sync is awesome. That's for affirmations. And these are features that Solex has added just in the time I've been with the company. So that's been, like I said, just under 2 years now. They don't up the fee. Like it's been $149 since I joined. And they tell us, we have actually a convention coming up in 2 weeks. And they tell us, we're not raising the price, your monthly subscription, but we are going to keep making it better and enhancing it. So,
are you going to the convention?
I am not, because it's in Utah and it's just a time when, I work on weekends still at the gym and stuff. So not this round, but when we do the DOD in March, and that's a virtual one, the teams get together and I'm pushing for them to come to the beach instead of the mountains in North Carolina this round, so that we can all meet up there.
I was told it was sold out. There were no more tickets.
Yes, the one in Utah is, they sell out quick. And they'll probably put next year's on sale during this one so that people can get them. They probably discount them a little bit. I don't remember from last year.
Okay, so folks, I kind of want to add a little thing in here. Dawn is advanced in what she's talking about. I was doing scanning this morning with a couple of friends of mine, and I know that I have to continue to scan them. And as I'm learning how to do this, but our conversation is not for the person that's being introduced to this. If you want to learn more about what this is, just send me an email or whatever. Dawn's going to give you her information, but at the very least, take a peek at the technology that we're talking about, because both Tesla, Emoto, Einstein, they all said that the wave of the future for healthcare is going to be based on frequencies. And some of the videos that I've watched, I mean, when you go in and get a CAT scan, when you go in and get an MRI, that's all frequency stuff. They're scanning your body and it's telling them what you're looking at with an image. This does pretty much the same thing. It's more personalized and something you can do for yourself in your home. If you want to know more about how all of this works and how you can get plugged into this, reach out to Don, reach out to me, reach out to my friend Elizabeth Smatlack, because you can do this in your home. I don't have to be a doctor to go downstairs and scan myself where I have all this set up. And I just want to put that out there for you guys. The information can seem overwhelming, but when you understand what we're really doing, you're just basically optimizing the frequencies in your system. I love how Elizabeth explained it. She says when you're dialing your radio in your car and you get all that static until you get to the fine tuning, this is what the Solex scan actually does. It's trying to fine tune things that are out of balance in your body, and it really is looking in the emotions that are triggering some of the illnesses that are in your system. And of course, we're not making any medical claims. I can't say that this is going to heal you, but I can say, take a look, learn a different way. I'm going to do a whole show on pharmaceuticals and synthesized medicine and petrochemicals, and you're going to be shocked at where and why all that stuff exists today. This is what we're trying to do. Now, Don, you're going to jump into something else. Where are we going next with what you're talking about today?
Wait, if we want to share those slides, I can show the one we talked about already and just show what I was looking at. This was that first client who presented to me, couldn't breathe. And if you see the heart on the right, that's a meridian. And those red colors show she didn't optimize. So the previous is the first scan. The current was after optimization. And at the top, it gives us the physical and emotional links. And that's where I said to her, where is this anger coming from? And that's when she told me. And within the time, I saw her every other week. So between the weeks I saw her, she took care of what she needed to take care of and confronted.
Okay, so I'm going to point something out here because to the person watching, looking at the slides, they're going, I don't know what any of this is. The first slide to my left is the bodies.
Yep, okay. That's all the meridians that come up.
Okay, so explain meridians.
So that's the electricity going through your body.
Bingo. Okay. Now you got the forgiveness in the middle with the heart.
Yep, because she needed to forgive. She was angry, but she needed to confront the woman and forgive. Like, move on.
At the very top where it says heart meridian, the source of her issues were being caused at the heart, and it's telling us that because it says here, feeling unloved, unlovable, withholding love from others, forgiveness issues, anger, emotional pressure. When I looked at my stuff, some of these very same things came up, and I was like, I can identify with every one of them. So I'm kind of getting this. I've got Robin Knight just checked in. Hi, Robin. Thanks for joining us. Okay, now, then you got the heart issue over here. It says 8, previous 9.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Her first scan, the previous scan was the first scan that was run before optimization. It came up as a 9, which means high. So it could mean that there's a lot of energy there. Usually with a 9, it's where it is. And if it's a 1, there's low frequency, low energy there. So in this case, and you can optimize, if you kind of can't see your canvas where the circle is, if you move your eyes to the right, it's the kidney. It was green and it went to red. So it can go both ways. If you look up, large intestine was red and it went to green and optimized. So green is where you want it to be. So when you're scanning and you see all this green, it's like, all right, we're having a great time and a great day. I want to just throw this out there too, Jeff. When I got the scanner, like I said, I kept a notebook. I didn't know this all. It wasn't like that. This has taken time. And like I said, those courses I took in Kimberly Quantum University, where she does a whole course on connecting the dots, where you can learn how each scan and each piece comes together. And that's how I can now like whip through scans and go, oh, this is where your problem is. And then the person will go, oh yeah, how'd you know? So it's not something, if someone was going to start this today, it takes time, like anything else. Like I said, there's no quick fix. It's just another tool in the toolbox to help yourself.
Okay, so if anybody wants to know how she does this, Robin, just go ahead and tell the folks how they can contact you, and we'll do it again at the end of the program. You might just put it in the chat. I don't know, or just tell us, how can people contact you? Did you go
You're
away?
asking me or Robin?
I'm sorry. I meant Dawn.
No worries. Okay. I have it in the chat. My phone number is 910-773-5879. My email
I don't
is,
see it. I don't see it in the chat anywhere.
I'll put it in again. Give me 1 second. Do you see that?
Nope.
It
And
says
I don't know
chat with
why.
everyone in the studio. Is that why? I don't know why either.
I don't know why either. Do you?
Hang
Well,
on.
anyway, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
What was your phone number again? Maybe Carol can write this down, and he can go ahead and put it in a streamer.
910.
Hang on, he's reaching for it.
Oh,
I
okay.
can see him.
No worries.
Are you ready, Carol? Shake your head. Go ahead. Give him the phone number.
910-773-5879.
And do you have a website?
Yes. It's
Do that one a little slower.
okay. www.insideout-holistic-health.com.
Inside out hyphen
Yes.
holistic
health.com.
Okay, he's going to go ahead and stream that across the bottom of
Thank you.
I'll put that on the screen here.
Perfect.
I'm sorry I didn't have that ready beforehand.
No worries.
All right, so now is there anything more that you want to discuss about this?
Not this
slides we have
particular
up?
one. Nope. If we want to go to the next one, the next case.
I don't
study,
have another one. This is the only one I got.
it was all, yeah. Okay, that's fine. I can speak of it without seeing it. It's not a big deal. I had someone that presented with, again, hers was weight gain. She said she couldn't lose weight. She wanted to gain strength. I said, oh, okay, no worries. Well, it turned out she wasn't eating enough. So a lot of people think that, less is more in that case. And it's not. More is more. And she needed more protein. And that was showing up in her scans. It literally says in Body Systems that you need to add more protein. So again, it's there to help. The other thing that popped up, she mentioned fatigue and her adrenals came up. So when your cortisol is up, that's going to make you tired. It's going to make you not sleep. Her lymph was also clogged in her face. That being said, she went on to mention, I had some dental work done. So if this is where I was saying in the very beginning, people want to detox, they want to get well, and that's fantastic. But if your pathways aren't open, meaning you can't detox, all it does is stay clogged there and has nowhere to go. So your lymph system is your sewer system of the body.
Yeah, that's
Think
a
about
fact.
right? If something's backing up in the house, like the toilet backs up, where's it going? Like you don't want this stuff floating around in your body. We want it out.
Time out. Let me explain something to you. When you just said something that I forgot my doctor had said to me about the lymph nodes being the sewer system.
Mm-hmm.
When I had stage 4 cancer, and I'm a plumber, I've done drain cleaning. Okay. When I had stage 4 cancer, I had this great big lump. One morning I woke up and there's this great big lump under my neck. And I'm shaving and it rolled over. And I was like, ooh, what is that? In my spirit, I heard it was like, that's a serious thing. It wasn't a zit. I didn't have a cyst. And so when I go to my doctor and they did the biopsy, he said, what was happening is your lymph node was collecting all the junk that the cancer was producing. Hence the sewer system. He made that reference that your lymph nodes are collecting sewage right now and it's plugged.
Yep.
And that's so crazy you would say that.
Well, tell me if you've heard this one before, this analogy. This is kind of a gross one though, but it kind of drives it home. So if someone had a pest infestation in the house, let's say they had mice and the exterminator came and dropped bait and all the mice died, but they left the mice. Well, other things are going to come and eat that. So think about your gut. If our guts aren't clean and there's parasites, and we all have parasites, don't anybody freak out. And that shows on the scans as well.
Yes, it does.
And I'll give you this little tip: during a full moon, your parasite list will grow. So lots of times people will do a lot of frequencies. We can run playlists to keep the parasites away and keep them down. It helps you sleep better at night and things like that. It helps assist the body. So that being said, imagine though, if you have gut fermentation going on, which the scanner says for pretty much everybody, because we've, and here's the thing, right? You can't avoid some of this stuff. You can eat as clean as you possibly can. For instance, like I buy organic, everything I possibly can. I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. That's my choice because I feel better without that stuff. And just today, we just threw a bunch of organic bananas out because they were a little green when I got them. They've never ripened and they're hard as a rock. And I guarantee you it's that fake stuff because I've had a fake watermelon and a fake avocado come through and they're organic. So these are just the things we deal with in our environment on a daily basis. So you have your daily toxins from food, the environment outside, the Wi-Fi going on, everything. So now add that on top of if you're eating garbage or your stomach can't handle it or your liver can't detox it. Right. So all these things are shown again in all the reports in the scanner. So it's not like, it gets made up or I'm like, go get a blood test, go get this scan, go get this test. It saves thousands of dollars. And this is coming from someone who spent that money, last 5 to 10 years. The last case study that I'll just mention, this woman came, sweet woman, really understood, holistic stuff and wanted to go that route. And she's like, I can't understand. And she was, I want to say in her 60s, I look like I'm 9 months pregnant, she says to me. I go, okay. So with the tweak of looking at her food sensitivities and saying, I think you need to cut out X, Y, and Z. And she did. The bloat went away. She's like, I have a flat stomach again. And I feel fantastic. So it's different for everyone, but for the most part, it always goes back to the gut because guess what? The gut is your second brain. They work together. So if your gut isn't clean, this can't function correctly. That makes
sense. So I mean, I've been working on my gut now for about 2 years, but I haven't been scanning myself because I'll be honest with you, I couldn't afford the $149 for about 4 months. I had to cut a whole bunch of stuff out. Well, that's the nice thing about Solex. They let me go on a sabbatical and not pay that for 4 months.
Yep.
And then I reactivated because during that 4 months, I started learning, watching all the different YouTube videos that I could on this stuff. And I'm going, this stuff is incredible. I can't let this go. I got to keep doing this. And part of me is going, well, I want my friends to see this. Get over here so I can scan you. But after I scanned myself Wednesday and Thursday, I was like, I got some problems. I got some problems. And when I read the emotional stuff, I was like, I could hit the emotional negatives. The positives were there.
Right.
They were there, but the negatives were a little bit longer in every section.
And that's most people.
I could identify with every one of those negative emotions. And I'm going, these things are keeping me stuck in certain areas of my life. I have to learn how to deal with this. I literally had to say that to myself on Thursday because I got some work to do. And I'm sitting here going, why can't I lose this gut? Why am I still stuck with this thing? And here's what it said. I don't mind sharing with a couple things.
Sure.
It said one of the big ones was abandonment, being abandoned. Well, my father left us when I was 5 years old. I've been carrying that probably most of my adult life. But in the chakras, it was telling me, or in the meridians, it was telling me what was causing the bloating in my stomach and not being able to get rid of this. And it said literally fears of abandonment and rejection. I'm like, well, how do you deal with that? What do I do with that? Where do I go with that? And then somebody said to me, I interviewed somebody, and she said, forgiveness is a gift to yourself. And I went, I don't necessarily have to forgive my father. I kind of have to forgive all these things because it frees me up. And so I'm seeing these things tied together. When I ran that emotion scan, I'm like, okay,
It's
I
mind
got some
blowing,
work to
right?
do. I got some work to do, yes. And now before the show ends, because we got about 15 minutes left,
Yeah.
I gotta put God in here somewhere.
Yes.
How do you relate this to our creator?
So, interestingly enough, I get the scanner, and part of me was I was afraid. As a Christian, I'm like, I don't know if we should be doing this. Like, is it voodoo? And so I'm telling you, because I mean, I teach
know.
Christian yoga, and I have people telling me I'm going to hell for that. So be it. Ugh. Crazy world we live in, Jeff. So all that being
I
said,
know.
Solex in the training, they recommend a book called, and I should have kept it out, but it's about not burying your emotions. So I of course I get the book and I'm reading it, and the very last, I feel like it's the last page of the last chapter, it's the prayer to Saint Francis of Assisi, and I was like, oh, there's my sign. This is what's supposed to be. Every book I have read about frequencies and quantum stuff, everything points back to the creator. Everything. He created the universe. So I mean, Jesus laid hands. That's what it talks about all this. It's all with intention, everything. It's like, if you say a prayer for someone across the country and it works, it's the same thing with frequency. And it's the same thing. I'll even say, go ahead. Because I don't want to lose.
I was just going to say that. I often say this. King David had the same ability, same hands, fingers, toes, eyes, and intellect to create an assembly line. But Henry Ford did it, thousands of years later, okay? Both Henry Ford and King David could have understood quantum physics, but the information wasn't available to them because of where the technology was. But in all three of those instances with those individuals, all of that information was always there because it's created. And the thing about this here, this is created to show you how our energy, because we're basically energy beings, react to the frequencies that God created. I mean, it's so mind-blowing. I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
Since we're speaking about God, I just want to throw this out there because Solex is an MLM, right? I don't hide that from anybody. I'm transparent about it. I just read this book and it was about network marketing and whatnot, but there was a little quote in there, and I don't have the exact quote, but for people who say, oh, that's a pyramid scam. Well, Jesus was the first. Did he not get his 2 by 2 by 2 and get his 12 to go out and get more?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and people don't understand. And a lot of the MLM businesses that operate this way.
That's okay, but it's just like you were saying, where did God?
Cool. Well, I agree with you, but they're forced to operate this way because they can't get their products to market because of a lot of the pharmaceutical rules that have been raised up against this type of stuff. And so there's a formula that they have to use because you can't go put this on the shelf and sell it and claim anything about it. That's another conversation. I get in trouble here a little bit, but trust me, I'm so against that system because there's wonderful products out there that can't come to market in the way that retail operators work. And it took me a while to figure that out, okay? It really did. But anyway, we got 10 minutes left.
Sure. Well, if you want, I could speak about for me, when I was I did the scanner, I was like, what's next? So, you heard what I did, what's next, but there are people out there who don't want to go my way, but maybe they want to just feel better. So we'll start with the person who has they don't have the scanner, they have nothing, but they have stuff going on and they just don't know where to begin. They've been to every doctor. So I just want to let folks know that I offer 3 different ways that either you can work directly with me or via a group or just, by yourself and within a team. So I do nervous system restore as a mentorship program. It's a 12-week course. So like I was saying earlier, you have to have that desire and to be able to do. There's documents to read, there's videos to watch, and then we meet every other week. And that deals with the gut, it deals with the nervous system reset, and then it's also quantum shifting. And that's where we deal with the emotional stuff. And that's the priciest of them all. Then For people who are like, I don't know where to start, I need to start somewhere, maybe, a little more pocketbook friendly, is our 10-week program. And that's a group setting. And we meet via Zoom once a week. And we start them at the beginning of every month. So we do have overlap. And there, people build their foundations, right? So like I was saying earlier, you can't just go detox first. That's not step one. Step one's hydration. And step 10 is emotional. So we get you through all of those, right? Hydration, movement, nutrition, digestive detox, brain health, neurotransmitters, breathing. You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to breathe correctly. Sleep, EMFs, and then that emotional health. And then the last one, if they're like, well, I'm not really ready to do any of that, I just want to see what the scanner is all about, I say, well, get your subscription and start messing around with it. You can't break anything. The only thing I will say to caution anyone with the scanner already is when you're running a Cepheid playlist, which is a bunch of frequencies, you can do up to 15. And if you're not feeling your best, so to speak, you don't want to put more than maybe 2 detox frequencies in there so that you don't get a Herx reaction, which is like getting the flu really bad. You just feel like crud as your body is trying to detox because, again, if pathways aren't open, it's got nowhere to go to get stuck in your lymph. So we don't want that to happen to anybody.
So when I was doing the Cepheids today for the friends of mine, I went over to symptoms, and then it gives you all of these different homeopathies that it recommends. I just clicked all of them and sent them to them. You don't recommend that?
You can. I just caution, like I said, I caution my clients and I say, and knowing them, my one-on-ones I know better, obviously. And I'll say, here's a list for you. Build your playlist because they have the scanner. Here's 20 to pick from. Go with the pluses. Go with the things that are going to support you. And maybe no more than 3. But, they know their body the best. Like for me, I can throw in 6 detoxes and I'm okay. But I don't recommend that for anybody else. I suggest, I'm like, here's 6 to pick from. Make multiple playlists, throw 10 supports in and maybe 1 or 2 detoxes. Make another one and do the same type of thing. And then just run maybe 1 in the morning, 1 at night, or every day you just pick a different one.
And see, you do this. Options. You do this in your practice, in your business. This is a business for you. And you encourage people to get it. I'm learning how to do this just to scan people and then figure out what, where to go with that. Because I got back into this to get a little bit more detailed and create a clientele list. I'm doing that too. But right now I'm just kind of roughshotting because I'm trying to figure out, I'm just trying to do it to see how it works. And I know it's not a detriment to say, listen, let me scan you. And I'm doing the emotional thing. I'm doing just the emotional scan. I have a charge for that. And then so they can see what this thing is doing. Right. And then we go to the next level, whatever that might be, based on what I get from the frequency scan. Right. And then I send all that to them. Most people are going to go, I don't know what any of this is, but at least have a record and we can compare each time I scan them in the emotional area.
True.
And they can watch the things change. Now, let me ask you a question. Emotions change.
Oh, absolutely.
Daily. We're talking about the ones that are buried
and stuck there that are going to keep showing up and showing up and showing up till they're cleared.
Okay.
Till they're cleared. Yep.
All right. What else would you like to say?
If anyone goes to my website, I do offer a free ebook on what the AO scan is. They're more than welcome to go and grab for themselves. It's not very long, but it'll give you a little intro and show you different things that the AO scan does offer. And if you just want to reach out on there as well, you absolutely can ask any questions because this was really quick about the things that I do help people with. But pretty much any symptom that has been lingering, nagging, or just something, you want to be a better you, reach out. I'm happy to help.
I think it's interesting that the God of creation is revealing this in such to where it could become just a household tool, like a can opener. Yes.
Absolutely.
That to me is blowing my mind. And all it costs you is $149 a month, plus you got to buy certain things. You got to buy the equipment, but the fee is $149 a month. That's better than sitting in a hospital bed paying $10,000 a night. If you can prevent something from happening, or at least see what's causing the root cause, and then begin to deal with it, that $149 a month is better than any hospital bill I've ever seen.
True. And just to clarify, if someone really is like, if all they have is that $150, they really can just start with the subscription. They don't need to purchase anything to start. I always tell them and this is another thing for everyone. You have your subscription for 3 months, you get a 30% coupon. So
Well,
a big pricey thing, for example, like the PEMF mat, it's $1,000 or $1,200. I waited till my 30% came and then use it. It's not like they limit you. You get to use the coupon for one product. They don't care how high the ticket item is. So I think that's an awesome feature that the company, that Solex, does for us as well.
what is the PEMF set? The PEMF and
mat.
what?
That balances your chakras and as well. You lay on it, it's heat, and it's awesome. That could be for a whole nother, all the toys and gadgets we could do, Jeff, on a whole nother show. I have the foot detox. I have, like I said before, I have the red light.
Yeah, I have that too.
Yep. This everybody should have. This is another one that's.
I wear that. I haven't worn it for a while, but I was wearing it every day.
Yep.
For a long time because it's infrared technology and it's just,
portable.
People want to put something on their arm and feel something. This isn't what we're talking about, folks. We're talking about optimizing the frequencies in your body and getting unstuck from the emotional activity that's causing problems in your body. Now we have a blueprint that shows you what all of that is, and it's personalized, and we can present this to you from anywhere in the galaxy, which is what the quantum reality is all about. I mean, you could be on the planet Jupiter, and I could scan you, and it will pick up your person because your voice is the imprint, and it's like your own personal fingerprint. It's kind of like this. You go to a hotel, and you want to put the key in to open the door, you have to hold it up, or like with the bank cards now. How come it doesn't open up every single door on that floor? It's because the frequency is attuned to just that door.
Right. And
the same thing with your card, your debit card. You can now tap something. Well, how come everybody's card doesn't grab money out of your account? Because it's frequency. Well, you are your own energy system, and the frequencies work for you. I'll give you the last word. We got just about 3 minutes left.
Well, if you have any other questions for me, Jeff, like I said, this has been an amazing product, just like I said, just in our household alone. And as I mentioned way early on in the conversation today, that, I had my husband get his own subscription. And
how is he doing with it? I mean, what has he noticed? Was he a skeptic?
Everyone in my family was a skeptic at first, and it came to the point, I will tell you this, that my sister-in-law texted me one day this week. I happened to be getting onto the beach, and she's like, "Can you scan me?" And I almost fell over because this is someone who rolled her eyes at me when I was showing it to her when she came to visit in February. But I have a great niece. Her granddaughter is 4 years old and does not know her father at all. And the father figure is my brother, her grandfather, and she has an uncle, my nephew. But that's it. No real dad. And she was acting out towards the end of the preschool year. And my sister-in-law attributed it to, oh, well, it's just, her schedule changed and there's no more dance class and none of this. So she's just adjusting. I said, well, I'm going to run a scan on her anyway. Well, don't you think it came up that there was a tie to like no father figure in her voice scan? And I emailed it right back to her. I said, you think what you want. I said, and the end of the school year was around Father's Day. I said, did they make anything for Father's Day for their dads in school? And she goes, oh, I don't know. So imagine you're 4 years old and every kid in the class is probably making a card or whatever you did. I mean, we all did it back in the day. And here you have no one to make one for. So it doesn't, that's why I say it doesn't lie. I think it just brings awareness to people that want to not see these things because they just want to move on in life. And that I didn't mention this earlier, but this is why we are all in the way we are today. We are in a world where we click, 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 everything's instant, and that's what we're all looking for. This is going to take longer, as it should, because you can't Band-Aid anything to get better.
Well, folks, Dawn Nelson, you can contact her. Say your phone number out loud one more time.
Sure thing. It's 910 area code 773-5879.
And her practice is called Inside Out Holistic Health. And Dawn, you're welcome to come back on my program. We're going to keep talking about this because I think every human being should, very least, be aware of the technology that is now available for everyone. I want to thank you for coming on and talking about it with me. Love to have you back on, and you might even be able to help me a little bit. We'll talk about that a little later, but thank you so much for coming on and saying this works. I think people need to know that this works.
Amen.
It's better than taking a whole bunch of pills. All right, so that's it, folks. This is Jeff. Let's talk about it. Are we going to end the stream?